Welcome back to another video. Dear students, in this video you will learn types of chemical reactions. So if something is burning outside in the surrounding, or if the food is burning inside the body, then both of these reactions are the types of chemical reactions. You will find so many chemical reactions useful and few harmful. So let's start the video with different types of chemical reactions. I have listed few types of chemical reactions here. As you can see, combustion reactions, oxidation, thermal decomposition, displacement reactions, neutralization reactions, precipitation, reduction reactions, and finally the fermentation reactions. I'll explain them one by one. So first of all, the combustion reactions. Combustion reactions are commonly known as the burning reactions. So what is burned and how is it burned? Dear students, the fuel is the substance that is burned in the presence of oxygen. These fuels are basically the hydrocarbons. Now the question must be popping up in your mind that what are hydrocarbons? So the hydrocarbons are those compounds which have carbon and hydrogen in their structure. When these hydrocarbons react with oxygen, then they produce carbon dioxide gas and water. And they also give off heat as well as light. I have quoted the example of methane gas. This is a natural gas that we are using in kitchen for cooking purposes. So if you look at this formula of methane, then this is CH4. So it is indicating this is a fuel and it is a hydrocarbon. When it reacts with oxygen gas, then it gives off carbon dioxide gas and water. And you also get heat during this combustion reaction. So if you want to cook something, then the heat is helping you out to cook something. These combustion reactions are not only useful in cooking, but the working of petrol or any other fuel in order to run a vehicle needs the combustion reactions to happen. This is the useful aspect of this combustion reaction. Similarly, the generation of electricity is also an example of combustion reaction. That is the useful reaction in this regard, that you're getting the electricity by this combustion reaction. What could be its harmful effect? As you are looking here, that carbon dioxide gas is produced as a product here. So if its amount gets higher in the air, then you remember that this is a greenhouse gas and this will result in global warming. So this is one of the negative aspects of this carbon dioxide production due to combustion reaction. I hope that you understood it, both the positive side and the negative side, and how this reaction is happening. Now we'll move to the next reaction, and this is the oxidation reaction. This is very simple. When oxygen is gained by one of the reactants, then this reaction is termed as oxidation reaction. During this oxidation reaction, the electrons these are actually lost while the oxygen is gained. So if you look at the example here, how is this magnesium oxide is forming? This is magnesium. When it reacts with oxygen, then the oxygen is added up with this magnesium, and hence the oxide of magnesium is formed, which is called the magnesium oxide. If you weigh this magnesium oxide, which is now in the form of ashes, so it will weigh more as compared to this magnesium because of the addition of oxygen, and electrons will also be removed when this reaction will happen. So this magnesium oxide, it is a very useful product. I have discussed its production, its balancing and uses in the previous video. I'll give you the link in the description so you can check it out. Now the thermal decomposition reaction. Thermal, it means the heat is involved, while decomposition, it simply means the breakdown. So if any substance breaks down due to the action of heat, it means when some substance is heated, then it is thermally decomposed because after breaking down it will give certain products. We'll see the example of calcium carbonate, which is usually commonly known as chalk and limestone. So this calcium carbonate, when it is heated in a kiln at higher temperatures, so the calcium oxide is produced while the carbon dioxide gas is also produced. So calcium oxide is a very useful product as it is used in the making of different stuffs like glass, like cement, like porcelain. So this is a very useful chemical that you're getting from the thermal decomposition of calcium carbonate. Another type of reaction is the displacement reaction. If you look at this displacement reaction, then in this reaction, one substance pushes another substance. It means it has to occupy the space of that particular substance which it is removing. So as one substance is taking the place of another substance, so these reactions are termed as displacement reactions. With an example, this concept will be clarified. Here zinc is reacting with copper sulfate. Now zinc, being highly reactive as compared to copper sulfate, will remove this copper and it will make zinc sulfate while copper will be left behind. So here you saw that zinc has displayed copper and it has taken its place and formed the zinc sulfate while the copper has left behind. Here in this example you can see magnesium is reacting with copper sulfate. When it reacts, then magnesium is highly reactive as compared to copper. So it will displace this copper and will form magnesium sulfate, and along with it copper will also be there, but it is separated now. Okay, so this copper has been replaced with magnesium. Now you can see it here. This is magnesium, and when you put it in copper sulfate solution, then the chemical reaction starts. This is the displacement reaction happening, and the copper will actually be separated and it will settle down the bottom, while magnesium will take its place and it will form magnesium sulfate. Now another displacement reaction is of iron nail in copper sulfate solution. Iron is again reactive than copper, so it will displace it and it will form iron sulfate while copper will be separated. There are some other reactions which are also happening, and you will obviously do it in the chemistry lab. So these are neutralization reactions. Why are they called neutralization reactions? Because the neutral products are forming. As you can see, the acid reacts with the base, and when they react together, then they make water and salt. Both are neutral products. So this is why they are termed as the neutralization reactions. For example, this hydrochloric acid, when it reacts with sodium hydroxide, which is a base, so it forms sodium chloride, which is a neutral product, and it is a salt, and it will also form water, and water is neutral. So this is how the neutralization reactions happen. When the acid reacts with base, then they produce a neutral product like salt and water. Here in this example, the sodium chloride is a salt and water, you know. Now you will see precipitation reaction. Precipitation reactions are those reactions in which insoluble precipitates are formed. And how they are formed? Actually, when you mix certain solutions, then they mix together, but when they react, then they give off an insoluble precipitate. Here I have given the example of silver nitrate solution and sodium chloride. The sodium chloride is in its aqueous form, so it is solution of sodium chloride. When both of these solutions react together, then they form silver chloride, which is basically the precipitate, and you get sodium nitrate. Here you can see easily, this is the aqueous solution of silver nitrate. When it is added up in sodium chloride solution, then the precipitates of silver chloride are forming, while this sodium nitrate is in its aqueous form. Now the reduction reactions. Reduction reactions are totally opposite to the oxidation reactions. In these reactions, what happens? Actually, the oxygen is removed from a substance and electrons are gained. So you must remember that in oxidation reaction, what was happening? Oxygen was gained and the electrons were removed. And here, as you can see, the oxygen is removed and the electrons are added. So example is here. By the way, these reactions are very helpful in order to extract some metal from its oxide form. So this is the useful aspect of these reduction reactions. Here the iron oxide is there, Fe2O3. This is the oxide of iron. When it reacts with carbon monoxide gas, then iron is separated. You can get the pure metal while carbon dioxide gas is released. Another example is of copper oxide with hydrogen gas. So this hydrogen gas takes its oxygen of this copper oxide, and copper, you get the copper, pure copper, and water is also produced. You can see it here. This is the copper oxide. When the hydrogen gas is passed, then the copper is left behind and water is also produced. I hope that you have understood it. Now we'll move to the very last reaction. So these fermentation reactions are very interesting because they're happening mostly in the absence of oxygen, and usually the sugars are turned into an alcohol, okay, and in them the yeast or fungi are used. So in this case, in this example, I have shown you a simple sugar which is glucose. When the yeast is added, and this is, by the way, happening in the absence of oxygen, so the reaction starts and you get the ethanol, which is an alcohol, and the carbon dioxide gas is also released. You can see it over here. Sugar is there and yeast is also there. Less oxygen. It means the oxygen is not present here. And you are getting the carbon dioxide gas and an alcohol, which is ethanol or ethyl alcohol. So this is the end of the video. If you have any question related to any chemical reaction, you can ask freely in the comments. This is all, and I wish you a good day. Take care.